picture. See even the plant, you see? You almost killed the darn plant. Powerful. There's one thing that we do at every moment of our lives, and it is making choices. That's everything we do. For anything, we're making choices. We make choices for every moment. For me to decide, I had to make a big choice now, because I was on my way, and from Kendall, close to the Everglades, like on the edge of the Everglades. And there's an accident on Turnpike, and we got held up for a long time. Then my wife and I were coming, and also Dante, my grandson, was going to introduce him to all of you. Some know him from me talking every time that I come here, and also on Facebook. And then he had a little accident, so he ended up messing up his clothes. And then I had to make a choice, because I was running out of time, and I thought that we started at 8 o'clock, and I was not going to make it. So then the choice was then my wife also started feeling sick because of the smell and stuff. And the choice was this. I had to come here. I told her, and she said, we need to go. They don't understand. It's just, she tried to, we need to go home because look at his situation. And then, and I told her, but I have to go. I have a commitment. And she said, but then that could wait. Man, look at us, and I'm feeling bad too. And then she came up with the idea, and this is one of the advances in our society, and I had not even think about it. So you call Uber. And then I had to make a choice, right? So call Uber. And I called Lyft. So it's something, it was easier for me. So then the choice that we made was this. She would go home with the kid driving, because the seat was her car and everything, and I come here by Lyft. And I came by Lyft like 2 minutes early, and because I found out that was 8:30, I had forgot, I didn't read it correctly, and now I have to make a choice to go back home, and that's far. And one of the choices to call Lyft again, or walk. So I don't know. Then, but it's every time. And then what happens, right? What happens? Then the choices that we make will generate a consequence. That's right. So I could have made a choice of going home and not coming here, and then have someone here to talk to you about making choices maybe, or be here. So I'm glad I'm here. I don't care how I'm going to get home, because this is something that pleases me, and then I could also contribute something. So this is what happens. And this was just one simple choice. But we have other choices that we make. For instance, our spouses. Sometimes we make the right choice. Sometimes we're a little in a hurry, a little desperate, and we make the wrong choices. And then we have to own to the consequences, because we decided, we made that choice. And we do that everywhere, with what to study, what profession to follow. So anything, it's everything, every moment, the choice of getting up in the morning or not getting up in the morning to go to work, for instance. But we have to go to work, so we decided that we need to go. So that's what happens, and it's every moment, and most of the times, not often we make the correct choices, but there would be consequences. But it's us making the decision of follow certain path, right? We make a choice, we do it. And that there's going to be a consequence. It's always us. We could avoid. Sometimes we could avoid. making that choice, and then we would avoid the consequences. So the good choices that we make, we get good consequences. That's how it works. Cause and effect. So today, based on what we learn in the Spiritist doctrine, then we're going to see what happens, right, to us. Why things are the way they are. Why things happen the way they happen. Because it's very comfortable for us to do things that are not very pleasant, receive, obviously, the unpleasant consequences of the unpleasant choices that we make. But then we have this problem, and that happens to all human beings, that we don't like to be wrong. We think that we are always right. And then we make the wrong choices, and then we get the wrong consequences, but we don't want to blame ourselves. Then we blame others because it's more comfortable. We don't have that responsibility. We place the responsibility on something else or somebody else. Most often, somebody else. Never us, right? So learning, and since we are here following the Spiritist doctrine, we have many of those teachings that even if they are unpleasant, they're true. And that if we follow seriously, then maybe we think better on what to do, choices that we make. And we should, because there will be consequences that will fall upon us. That's how it works. And everything that we do, be it a good deed or a bad deed or a good action or a bad action, the consequences will fall on us. If it's good deed, good action, pleasant, we're going to get the reward, right? We're going to be pleased. We're going to be happy. Something good is going to happen. But if we make the wrong choices, the wrong decisions, there will be wrong consequences. That is a fact, and it is unavoidable. And the responsibility is ours too, because we could have made a different choice. We had, we are adult enough, we are smart enough to know that. Many times we don't make the choices, even if they're wrong, because we want. Maybe we don't know better. Sometimes we think it is right, then we take it, and it isn't right, and then it's going to hurt. Sometimes a little, sometimes a lot. But we can learn from it, because this is what we're here for, this life, to learn. And we learn by trial and errors. I always say that we come to this life without a manual how to live well, to be happy. We don't know that. We don't have that manual on how to for the guidance. So we learn by trial and error, by doing things, by things that we're taught from our parents or friends and teachers and whatever. That's how we learn, by making mistakes. So even if we make the bad choice, we make the mistakes, there are also learning experience that we have, teaching tools that we get in this life on earth, which is sometimes it's not that pleasant. But life, being here, being on this earth, we made the choice of coming here because we learn in Spiritism, we learn that we reincarnate, right? So we came here before, we lived the way we lived, then we went back to the spirit world. We analyzed our lives, we reviewed our lives, things that we taught, things that we learned, things that we still have to learn, mistakes that we made, things that we could change. Then we decide, and we are allowed, that's why we're here, to come back and fix that, do it different, do it better. And we can see that we are always doing something better. Because if we look back into our lives 10 years, 20 years ago, most likely, we are better off now than we were 10 years ago. And that is a sign of improvement. That is a sign that something, we might have done something right. So, and this is what happens in every day of our lives throughout, our existence here, for whatever time we're going to stay here. And then obviously that is going to improve our own existence, either when we go back to the spirit world and stay there for whatever time, then when we come back again, then we're going to also experience the rewards for this evolution, because we're always evolving, and evolution is progressive. It's always getting better. It's always either staying the same, which is not that bad, it's much better than going backwards, or progressing. And we do that, in this progression is by our own interest, by our own desire, and by our own action in improving ourselves. So, and we learn all that in our beautiful doctrine. So, here. I saw it easily today because I changed my glasses. They're new. So, and when things happen to us, right? Bad things, obviously. And then we find ourselves in a fix, and that happened to me more than once. And I'm sure that not too many of you, because, you did everything correct, but it happened to me. And then I asked this question, why me? Why this is happening to me, right? If I'm a good person, so why am I going through this? And then we learned here from André Luiz. This is very nice. And this is something that when we come to learn something, be it philosophy, be it a religion, be it whatever it is, so, and we're there, we're studying, there are like teachings and lessons that we need to pay attention and use it. We can use it in our day-to-day life. We can use it for our own profit, right? So that we then do things a little bit better. So André Luiz, he says it very nicely, that anything that you do today, good or bad, something with equivalent force will benefit or harm you in the future, either in this life or in the next. Each one will be given according to their works. There is no escape or evasion of God's laws. And we see that also in the New Testament by Paul, when he's talking, I think it's to the Galatians, I think it's the Galatians, that he says that don't fool yourselves. Right? God cannot be mocked. Right? Everything that you plant, you're going to harvest. You're going to get back to. And this is cause and effect, right? We learn that in here in the teachings of the Spiritist doctrine. So, and in my case, about 16, 18 years ago, when those things happened, there was mostly it was a financial ruin. It's something starting from nothing to build up, a life or survive, because that's our daily struggle is the survival of our physical body. So we go to work every day, 9-10 hours a day, maybe less, maybe more, so that we can have money to buy food, to nourish the body that harbors us as a spirit that we are. So that's our daily struggle, to work, and we need shelter, some comfort. So we do that. That's our daily struggle until one day those lucky enough to retire and have a little bit break, a little break that you don't have to go through that struggle every day. But so we need to assure at least the minimum sustenance for the physical body so that we keep going, so that we finish our work here on earth using the body that we are now having. So the why me thing is something that is, to me, it was something that changed my life radically. So that put me back in the spiritual path that I had been going at one time, and then things, got a little bit hectic, and I forgot about that part until one moment that you get that something that is shaking you, right? So then is the time that you ask, why me? Why is this happening? And that is, to me, was the best thing that happened in my life. Because then when you go and try to find out what the answer is, why you will find that it is, the way you think, it's the way you act and things that you do. And then if it is unpleasant, as it was for me, obviously, then you try and to put yourself back in the right path so that you don't have, or those things won't happen to you again, and you will not have to ask why me, because you already know. So, and those things that happen, then it makes you think better of your actions, of your choices, because it's always choices. The clothes that you wear or you don't wear. So it's all choices. It's all deciding. It's all a decision. Sometimes we make those decisions that we need to make it fast, and it is not always the right decision to do. But life teaches you, especially when you spend many, many years here, like I have spent many, many years. So something you learn. And then it's easier for you to live when you have those, you know that you made a mistake. And it's all many, many times, it's repetitive. We are always repeating. So, but you know better that, that you should have done that, because one day you did the same, you made that choice, and then if you make it again, it's going to hurt you again. So we learn it from this trial and error, from our own mistake. So is it God that punishes us? This is something, and I've also had a lot of contact with people, and then we see, especially when there's a case of like a illness, a serious illness in a family, or someone is living this earthly life that we came here, and that's the thing that we have, the most certain thing that's going to happen to each one of us is that one day we're going to leave this house, this life. The body is going to perish, the body is going to stop working, and it's going to die, as we say it. And then we, as a spirit, we're free. So it's very difficult. It's easier for us to understand it, to live with this reality when we know that we are immortal spirits. Only the body is mortal. So we know that the loved one that we say that is dying, it is the body that is dying, not the person. The body is dying. The person is getting ready to be free and to keep going in the other level of existence. It's not a tragedy. So when we understand this, that we are immortal beings, that we have been in this physical life many times, that is not the true reality, then life is not a tragedy. But if we understand that, but people who don't understand that, then life many times, or death many times, is a tragedy. And it is obviously more of a tragedy the younger the person is that is dying. So it's terrible. It's very painful for a parent or parents to lose a child, small child. That is considered a tragedy, right? Or as a young adult. When we're getting, old, it's easier for us to accept. So those moments that we see yourself living that reality, I have lived that, not with, obviously, not losing a child, and that's something that I don't want to experience. But losing a parent when you most need, when you're young, and and your parent, especially your father, is like a reference, and then you lose it. Then you question, right? Is it God punishing me? But it isn't. It isn't God. And we learn this in the Spiritism. There's a very nice answer here in question 633. And it is Kardec asking, right, if God punishes. Then the Spirit, they say, they give this very easy to understand explanation. When you eat too much, it hurts you. God gives you, in the discomfort thus produced, the measure of what is necessary for you. When you exceed that measure, you are punished. It is the same with everything else. Natural law traces out for each man the limit of his needs. When he oversteps that limit, he is punished by the suffering it thus caused. If men gave heed in all things to the voice which says to them, enough, they would avoid the greater part of the ills of which they accuse nature. So we're doing everything too much. We're exaggerating. There's no balance, no equilibrium. It's always we're doing too much of something, overwhelming with something. Then there is a consequence. But the consequence and the punishment is by the exaggeration that we did on a certain thing. It is natural that to happen. So balance in everything, and it's nice this analogy that when we eat too much. Thanksgiving, right? Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's Eve. But there's always, the good thing is that on January 2nd, we start our diet. Then we resolve everything, right? I started my diet on January 2nd. Every year, yeah. So I will start again January 2nd. Every Monday. So if we balance things out, and this is just a simple example, but in other things that hurt most, that is very easy to fix, right? Just go to the gym. We're joking, but there's ways to do that. That's something that is very simple that we can do. And I heard that they're making this pill that we drink, and we get lots of muscle, and we lose weight while we are sleeping. And that is very important. But there are other things that we overstep. Yeah, it's good, right? I've been looking for, I'm dreaming for that one pill. One day, the name, the dream pill. So, and that is something simple, as I said. The more, like the ones that will punish, the choices that we punish, that will punish us the most, they most have to do like with the emotions that we have, right? And emotions that many times we need to tame. We have a lot of people in it, we know in psychology and stuff. We have people with anger issues, people who get angry, that are violent in their homes, for instance. They can't control themselves, and it'll bring hurt. Also, addictions is something that is something terrible. It's a choice that sometimes, many times, is uncontrollable, but it'll bring hurt first to the person, because we are always the one that's going to benefit first from what we do. either good or bad, benefit if it's good, it hurt if it's bad. We are the first one. So whatever we do, the feelings, the emotions that we have, basic good emotions, honesty, whatever it is, we're going to be the ones either punished or rewarded first. What we do many times may affect people emotionally also, or physically, even in mostly the people who are close to us. And this is the bad thing, is that most of the people that we normally hurt or feel hurt more are those that are closest to us. Spouses, children, grandchildren, or whatever. And this is something that in our evolutionary path, all these things that we learn, we have to be serious about it, because it is for our own good. Because this is something that our happiness or unhappiness depends or is caused by the way we're living our lives now at every moment. So it's very important, this evolutionary path of ours, have that in mind, so that we can make the right choices and the right decisions. And many times when we have that mastered, that we know, so we know how to avoid the bad things, how to avoid the bad choice, then we can use that knowledge to pass it on to people who depend on us. Sometimes it's not easy, because people around us, children, spouses, they are also developing spirits just as we are. And many times, even if we try to bring that wisdom to them, that the way they're living their lives is not good for them, that they should change because you've been there, and you've been hurt by the way you acted, and you see that person that you love acting the same way that you acted before and being hurt. And then you go and you bring your wisdom. It's not easy, because that person needs to go through that and would not learn from you most of the times until they get hurt. And that's bad, until they learn. Sometimes it takes, hopefully in this lifetime, many times not even in this lifetime. Now, if it is not God punishing us, who is or what is punishing us then? Then Kardec asks this question: does God take account of each of our actions in order to reward or to punish us? As Catholics that we were, we heard a lot of that, right? So you sin, you're going to be punished. God is watching everything that you are doing. So if you do bad, if you sin, you are going to be punished by God. That's what we learned. But fortunately, and that's easy. That's something that if you do well, right? So you don't sin. So God is not going to punish you because you are not sinning. You're not a sinner. So bad things happen to you, you blame it on the devil. The religions that does, the devil made me do it. But we did it because we wanted. Sometimes there are cases, and we see it, people with psychological problems, that they have this voice telling them to do these things, which is not the devil. We, as spirits, is knowing that we are influenced by spirits, also good or bad. So we understand that there are cases where the person then opens up to that, or is not psychologically or spiritually strong enough, then we receive that bad influence and may be causing harm either to themselves, because we also know of many cases where the voice is to kill yourself or hurt yourself or hurt somebody else. So that is something that could happen. Then we have the answer to Kardec's question 964, that God's law apply to all your actions. When a law is violated, God does not pronounce a sentence on us saying, for example, you have been gluttonous, I shall punish you for it. But he has traced the limit to appetite. Maladies and even death are the consequence of overstepping that limit. Punishment in all cases is a result of the infraction of a law. And we lived by natural laws. We can see it all around us. So again, is a thing of balancing things out. Knowing that whatever you do, is going to cause you a result that could be bad or good, depending on what you do, or neutral if you don't. There's nothing serious about it. So it's always good to know, because it's a guidance for us. It's a guidance for living. So we know this. We know this natural laws. We know that it will happen. So we avoid it. We have learned that lesson. We know that. We have the teaching. We have the guidance. We follow it. Now, if it hurts, do less of it. We know it. And it's not good to live in pain, be physical or psychological or spiritual. It's bad. We know that. We know that it is unpleasant. And again, we have here, Andrea Luis, that each one of us receive back by the laws of life what we have done, for what we have done, how much we have done, and how we have done it. So again, it's all on the quality of the things that we do. Cause, right? It's going to bring an effect that is in direct relation of the way we acted, of what we did. Could be thinking, could be feelings, and those are both thoughts, feelings, emotions. They have powerful, very powerful energy. It's incredible what this thought or thinking, and it moves things. It's incredible. Today I was telling my daughter, I was on vacation until I think day before yesterday, and I think I even deserved it. And I went to one of the places that I went to Dubai. I have a little business, and there's a trade show there, and I met one of our friends there, surprisingly, Luciana Rizzi. Incredible. And then I was gonna meet a guy from Iraq. That he's one of our distributors there. And then I was with my wife, and I showed her a picture of him. And I told her, look at this picture. He was going to be at that trade show. And I told him, look at this person and memorize, see if we were going to be walking around. And the place was huge. See if we see him. Then, because I didn't have, they had an internet connection, but I didn't. So, and we got there about 1 in the afternoon. So with that in mind, let's see if I find this person. Then at the end, at 5 o'clock, I saw a pharmacy. The place was huge. So we were walking around, and then I saw a pharmacy. Let me go to the pharmacy. I was looking for something that is, it could be grounds for divorce. If it's something that we couldn't take care. I snore a lot. I don't hear. Sometimes I do, even wake myself up. And my wife, she was complaining. She said, I came here on vacation, and I'd like to sleep at night, but you don't let me sleep. You snore too much. So I went to this pharmacy to see. I had tried those nose things. And she said, buy this, that this helps. And I put one. And then I thought, I'm going to put another one. So put two. The nose is big. You can even see that I'm partly Italian. And I snored. And she said, well, I think that thing didn't help. So the third night, I put 3. She woke up and said, what happened to your nose? I said, I put this thing. I put these things because first she said, I think it didn't work because you put it in the wrong place. So to solve that problem, I put everywhere. So it was there. So I went to the pharmacy and I told the lady that I was looking for something miracle, and she gave me a spray. And then she said, you spray this in your mouth. I said, no, it's not going to work. So then I didn't buy that. I bought chewing gum. And then I was in line to pay for my chewing gum, and there were 2 cashiers. One cashier here and another cashier there. And everybody speaks English there. English is the lingua franca there. The Arabic is the official language, but it's mostly foreigners there from everywhere in the world, so English is the language that you speak. And I know that when I was there, I didn't pay attention, but I saw this guy, like I was here, this guy, he had a little gray hair, but I didn't pay attention to him. And I went to pay my gum in the other place, and I said something to the guy in English. This guy, he jumped, Mr. Admir, Mr. I got Dilshad, his name. Oh my God. It said, I recognized you by your voice. He told me. So the guy that we had been looking for, he was right there. I didn't recognize him because I didn't even pay attention. But then he said, it was fascinating. It's fascinating. And I was telling my daughter this today, and it's synchronicity, like Carl Jung called it. So, and this thought has this power this is a fact. It is powerful. And that of everything, that's how we attract things in our lives. Seishono Ye teaches us that, right? So this guy, he was just there. And the pharmacy thing was something that it was not even in the plan. I just saw it and said, let's go and do it. So we had that, and that is the power of thinking, feelings, emotions that we put out everywhere, every moment in our lives. And that we are attracting things, even if we don't notice. And many, many times with this why me thing are consequences of all this energy that we put out. So, and these things, if it hurts, do less, we know that, we can act, we can analyze our lives and see the quality of it. We're going to go into that in a little bit. Then we change what we think is not being good for us, or is not bringing positive consequence or results. Now, reading the signs. This one, reading the signs. You know the tree by their fruits. So, the other day, my daughter, the young one, Gabriela, said, I want to go to a to a future teller, psychic. Yeah, to a psychic person, future teller. I said, why do you want to go there? Because I want to know my future. I said, well, yeah, that's very easy to know your future. I told her, your future is going to be built upon what you're doing now, right? This is how we create our future, and at the same time, we are creating our past. If we want to have good memories in our lives, we have to do good things now, because this is past. We've been here talking for 45 minutes, right? So we have 45 minutes of our past here that is already gone. And this past, the quality of this past is what we made at this very moment, this very present moment, which is also going to be the future. So as I told her, I told her, you don't even have to give me $10 here that you're going to pay her, and I tell you what your future is going to be. But how about my boyfriend? So that's a different story. Right? That's easy. There's a lot of boyfriends that you can get. That's very easy. So the future depends on what we're doing now. And we know that. Many of us, we already know that is a reality. So how do we know if we have lived a good life, be a past life or this life? Or how do we know if our future is going to be bright, pleasant, and with good things? So we know the quality of our lives. We know the tree by their fruits. How is our life right now? How are we emotionally feeling, right? Our finances, our health, everything. And today, also, I have 2 daughters, young daughters. And that's why I get a lot of white hair every time. Don't blame them. And the one was complaining because she already broke up with the boyfriend again. And then she told me, I want to move to another place. I want to change places. I said, it's not going to help. Because there's this thing that happens and that we cannot get rid. One person that we cannot get rid of in our lives is our own selves. We carry ourselves wherever we go. We can't, we can't. We can't. Wherever we go, we're there. So the nicer we are with us, the more pleasant we are going to be with us anywhere we go. If we're feeling good, if we're happy, and if we have positive thinking and all those good things, we can go to Burundi, which is one of the poorest place in Africa. And we're going to be happy there, even if we're eating with our hands and flies over the food that we're eating, dirt everywhere. We can be happy because it's not the place that's going to make us happy. Or if we're miserable, we can go to Geneva, Switzerland, or Disney World. Dubai. Hot. It's very hot. That we're not going to be happy because it's us carrying us wherever we go. And many times we are a burden to our own selves. And we don't want to do that. We want to be a light thing. We want to be very nice to hang out with our own selves, right? So we know that. How are we living now? How are we carrying ourselves around? Right? So we are pleased. So we can tell. And then if there are things that we are not happy with, now we have already achieved a stage of consciousness that we can know. We don't need to fool ourselves anymore. So we know it. We analyze, we know that's not good, then we change. Because if we're suffering now, if there's some kind of pain that we're going through, be it emotional, there's something that we have done. It could be a relationship, but we can't blame the person because we are with whoever we are because we want to. Because if we don't want, we're not there. So if we're doing something that it's not being good for us, don't do it anymore. Change. We change. Life is filled with change. So we analyze the fruits, and if they're sweet and plump and nice, we keep it. If it's not, then we change because we know that it's going to come back to us. So better now than later. All tribulations of life are the expiation of faults committed in the preceding existence, of things that we didn't do that well in a past life, so now we are harvesting that, and it's going to, as we know, it's going to help us grow, for sure. Now, when they're not consequence of faults committed in the present life, present one, most are here in this own life that we didn't do it right. Many times not because we're a bad person, because we didn't know better. We are still growing, we're learning. When you have quitted your present life, you will understand this. And this is something that's very interesting because we know we learn in Spiritism, and also I learned a lot from people who are dying. I worked with, I think I told it this many times, I'm going to tell one more time, that I worked with people who were dying. People who are about to die. So I follow them in that last stage of their earthly existence. And I saw a lot of this. First, one thing that they do, they can't go anywhere. They're in bed, they're weak, they're in pain, they cannot go anywhere. So there's one place that they cannot avoid going and they cannot get rid of, it's their own selves. Their own consciousness. So one thing that it's their mind, it's them reliving the life they lived. Then I asked them many times, and what did you see in what you did in this life? And many times were things that should have done better. Not all of them said, I did bad, but some of them I would change many things. So we understand, we know from Spiritism and also from near-death experience, that's another thing that I study. When we pass on the other side of life, that's one of the first things that we do, analyze our lives, how we lived our lives. So then we will understand why those things happened, why all the tribulations. And hopefully that learning, and we know that there's a lot of emotional pain when we do wrong thing, because that's us, we did wrong thing. We're going to feel it in our consciousness. We're going to regret. If when we regret things that we do wrong, it's a good sign because it shows that we are evolving. So, and then we see those things that we did wrong, we understand, and we do better. We improve, and that is why we choose to come back to this life on Earth. But there are other planets that they say, not planets or worlds, that's much better than this one. So we do a lot to better ourselves in this life, so we go somewhere else, some another world in the next life, and one that is cheaper to live, that we don't have to pay taxes. There's no Trump running for president. So see how this planet is not well developed? It's an inferior planet, as the spirits say. So, but we are here because it's nice. Anyways, it's nice. Now, at the end of the day, and then we have this, St. Augustine, this is one beautiful thing that we should do every day that could help us. Examine what you could have done against God, then against your neighbor, and finally against yourselves. The answers you get will either give rest to your consciousness or will tell you of a wrong. See, this is beautiful. It will tell you of a wrong that needs to be fixed. So we know, we learn, we fix. And we do that every night. Then we're improving. We're getting better. Self-knowledge is the key to individual improvement. Know ourselves. Know our weaknesses, our strengths, and things like that. It's much easier for us to guide our lives and to improve, which is what we want. Now, what can we do about it? We already know things that we're doing wrong or we're not. So what can we do about it? And Kardec asks this question: can a person improve a future existence starting in the present life? Absolutely. He or she can shorten the length and the difficulties of the road. It is only those who don't care to advance that stagnate. The more we advance in the present life, the shorter and less painful will be the trials and tribulations of future existence, including going to a planet that is much easier to live than this one. So we can do a lot. We already do this. Like, you know, our desire to go to school, to study, go to college, or as parents, our desire to put our children through school so that they can make a better life. That shows already that we have been developing, and many times we need to make the sacrifice that we cannot do this for whatever reason, but we are not egotistical that we can prevent our children of going. No, we want them to do it. So we're helping, and we see in society today, and we see the young generation, bright kids, bright children living. We see that in our family, and that is a good sign that there is improvement going on. We can see it in the whole story of the world. Maybe except here, because Trump is all want to be president. It is the GOP nominated. The Republicans don't like Trump, but they can't do anything because the people want him there, and this is a democracy, so take it. Now, and then we have this beautiful finishing statement here from Kardec, that those who are seriously endeavoring to ensure happiness for themselves already in this life. And that we can also see that. We can, just analyze our lives. This is our own lives. Our lives is the laboratory, how we're living, existence, also of the reality of the natural laws of everything. We can see that every day in our lives. So we already know. And since we have achieved this level of consciousness that we know that suffering is not good, so we take this seriously and we start doing it today, right? Analyze our lives, how we lived today. Every day we do that. And then whatever we think that is not right to do, that is going to bring some kind of hurt to us, we don't do it. I'm pretty sure that, I don't know if you're following the situation in Brazil or the politicians, the PMDB, PT, all those things there for 14 years, stealing money. All of them wouldn't like to have done that. But they did. And there is a consequence. And there's a lot of people very, very scared of Sergio Moro, right? So if you're following. But that's choices that they made. They made the choice. It was good. It was good choices. A lot of money, a lot of power, a lot of things. But one day, and this is for anything, this is just one example. That's whatever we do in our life. One day, it will catch up with us, right? One day. If you don't pay your credit card on time, or if you stop paying your credit card, that's going to catch up with you. And it is with everything that we do in our lives. So knowing that, we can start making these changes today. Whatever is not good, we get rid of. Whatever is good, we do more of it. Thank you very much, and great night for everybody, and a good life.